this is Liz with 143 Handmade. Welcome, welcome. So, I am here today to finish this front part of my cover. I thought I was done, but you know how that works, right? So, I found these Scrabble tiles, and I just decided to go ahead and add them. Spelling out Bella. And the piece of lace I decided to put under these letters is not glued. And I'm just putting a lot of glue on here. You could totally use your hot glue gun here. If you have a hot glue gun, you like your hot glue gun, this would be a great place to use it. But because the lace has so many holes in it, I have found this to be an effective way of dealing with it. So, see how I've just got that big, you know, globby right there in the center? You can totally do the same thing with hot glue. I decided to put the letters all, you know, cattywampus, a little skew, instead of trying to put them all, get them spaced even and all of that. And again, just a big dollop. Not worrying about getting the corners per se, because if it's a big enough dollop, it will squish out. And that way it also pushes through your lace. There we go. And I can see that coming out on most of those edges. So there we go. I hope you guys are having an awesome day. Hope you've learned something new today. That's one of my basic life goals, is to learn something new every day, even if it's just a silly little bit of trivia. You know, because some days, you know, you're just not emotionally up to really challenging yourself, and I totally get that. But it is a life goal that I set for myself a long time ago, and it has really helped in some of my darkest times. You know, that drive to want to learn, you know, want to do. Okay, so making sure that I've got it right side up. You know, that's always important. And so I just kind of rough cut the lace. I know it's a little too long on the side. I'm going to go ahead and cut it back down in a minute. Or cut it down more in a minute. Just, you know, I tend to leave things big and trim at the last second. But some people find that wasteful, and they much prefer to cut precisely. And then not have to trim, not have those little bits. And that's great. If you can manage that, that's more power to you. But it's just not really my jam, not really how I roll. And so I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of nip this. I'm not looking to get it exactly perfect or anything. Go ahead and nip this little corner right here. I don't know if you guys can really see around my hand there. Okay, just nip that so it kind of falls there on that better. There we go. And see, that's no higher than this is. So I did not add any depth by adding that. I just added this layer outside the fabric as opposed to this layer's inside the fabric. But they are, you know, here I can go ahead and pick up the book. See, those letters are actually just a smidgen shorter than, yeah, I think you guys can see that, than the cardboard that I put on. So there we go. And because those are, you know, up on top, I'm not really worried about, you know, the stretch like I was last time on the other portion. I will do this bottom edge last though, just to give that glue that little bit more time. Okay, so what I want to do is, let's see, I'll go ahead and do it on this edge because there's less. So it's easier to fit in the frame. And so what I want to do is I want to figure out roughly how far in I want to take this, you know, and then I want to fold this back and fold it all the way to the edge and nip right there in that fold. And you want to nip a good 1/4 to 1/2 inch. If you nip less than that, you probably won't get you know, a good enough start. And see, I'm only doing a few inches at a time. If it's just the fabric, you know, out here, not attached to anything, you can just grab and just, you know, full arm, just rip. But because I do have it anchored to the book already, I want to go ahead and be, you know, a little gentle with it. And see, that's still a little bit big for what you actually need, but I would rather wrap it around and have it be big than have it be too short. Now, if you don't like that stretched edge, again, feel free to go ahead at this point and use your scissors and come in and cut along here wherever you want, you know, and create that nice non-stringy, non-frayed edge. I like the frayed edge, so that's the look I'm going for. And see, this one's not going to rip well for me because of the up and down, you know, but I am going to go ahead and try it, even knowing that it's not going to give me that perfect edge that I'm looking for. And see, like, again, I'm just holding it and doing it just a couple inches while really, you know, pinching the book side. And then you see this strip, this would be great for reinforcing the spine of another book. You know, these strips are not waste. So, you know, if you're making multiple books, if this is something, you know, you're going to pursue. If you're not, if you're only trying to make a book, then some of these methods, you know, can be a little wasteful. But, you know, it all depends on what your uses are, right? There we go. Yep, and that's a nice size edge for that. Again, technically larger than you need, but I like to have a little bit extra as opposed to, you might see what I just did there is I just kind of took my thumb and I just want it about that, and that ends up being somewhere between, usually it ends up being somewhere between 1/2 inch and 3/4 of an inch if I use the width of my thumb. You know, and so you can tell that one's just a little bit smaller than the others, and that's fine because it's the one on the back edge, and it's, you know, one of the easier ones. So now what we do to finish the cover is we just fold this back, and how you do your corners, totally personal preference. There is no right, there is no wrong. There's a million different ways to do it. If you want to get the perfect mitered corner, there's a million videos out there that will show you that. You will not be learning that here. See, this is one of my traditional ways of doing it. You can see how it, you know, folds a little funny, but, you know, it does in fact work. And that way I don't have to, trim this corner, and I don't have to try and get that to flip over nicely or anything like that. So I'm just actually going to use that little bit of glue that's, you know, on the side and create just a glue kind of bobble there on the corner with some of this tackier glue. And that's totally enough to hold that. It's just fine. You don't need a lot here because you're just kind of tacking that down. And you want to try and make that, you know, as 90-degree of a corner as you can. You know, instead of just folding it up like that, you want to, you know, wear it willy-nilly. You want this to square into the corner, if that makes sense. And add a little bit of glue right here on this edge, because we do want that edge to be held down pretty good, so that way it's not getting in the way of the next step. And I almost always add a something, you know, a pocket or something like that to the front, so if you get a little bit of glue somewhere you don't want it, it's totally fine, not a big deal. Can still totally do this. Just sticking that down good. You know, there we go. Get rid of our stringies a little bit. Oh, that stringy really liked me. There we go. That one's down. That one's down. Okay. Now, I'm sure that there's a rule somewhere about doing, you know, the top and the bottom or the sides. Do whatever feels right to you. There's no book police that are gonna come and tell you, oh, you folded it wrong. You know, that's not gonna happen. And so what I like to do right here along these edges is I like to go ahead and put the glue right along that fold on the fabric, making sure to basically fill in that triangle from the book cover all the way out. And sometimes I will even go ahead and kind of stick a little bit of glue in there. And then on down this edge. Oops, that's not the right place for that glue. It'll be alright though. I'm going to fill in this corner and tuck just a little bit into that edge. Set that aside, and I will grab my spreader stick. This is just the one I happen to be using this time. I have a million different things that I spread with, so whatever you're comfortable with, that is what you should be using. Now, it is very common for me to have these corners do the glue bleed through thing. I would much rather have that happen on those corners and know that they are well adhered than have it not happen and have the journal fall apart. That is how I justify that. That's how I think about that. And then this edge, it's really up to you, you know, how much you worry about getting that edge glued down. Depends on how you want to do your finish work. If you're going to come in with a book plate, you know, which is just, or not a book plate, but like, I don't know if that's the right word, but an inside cover piece, then you don't really need to worry about that edge. As long as it's adhered, it doesn't really matter if the edge is, because when you come in with that other piece you lay here, which in this case is like, or in the first draft, I guess, of this book that they did, how it was published and put out there, they used this purple. Now, I really like that purple, and I think I'm going to go ahead and just leave these edges, you know, rough like this, and let Miss Bella, you know, play to her heart's content there. So, I'm not going to worry about it overly much. And I'm going to go ahead and just glue this down, put just a little bit along this edge where I can see it. Oh, and this is kind of one of those things where I'm kind of breaking the rules a little bit. Most people will put on the top and the bottom, you know, opposite sides, and then move to opposite sides. I'm trying to get the string off my fingers. There we go. You know, a lot of times I don't do that. I will go ahead and just work my way around the book. Again, I think that's just a personal preference thing, and I think that there are reasons to do it that way. I'm sure there are. And if you're trying to go for, especially if you're trying to go for a very precision, you know, clear, elegant type look, that's not really my wheelhouse. I'm kind of messy. So, and happy in my messiness. Happy to be messy. So, I just kind of roll with that. Find your zone and revel in it, right? So I have been trying to figure out how to do the whole digitals thing. I've been trying to figure out how to market my stuff online. I've been trying to, you know, this, that, and the other. Been reading all these things, watching all these articles, and you know, I think it's gotten in the way somewhat. I mean, I have learned a lot, and some of the videos have been incredibly helpful. You know, some of the, especially the marketing stuff, that's been very, very helpful. But one of the things that I find very distracting and not really all that helpful is the how to have a YouTube channel videos, which, I mean, or you know, it's kind of surprising that those aren't more helpful. But I have found those to be much more counterproductive than helpful for me. They, I don't know, they just like, I don't know, they just hit weird and they get in my head and in a negative way, and like I have to have my YouTube channel be the, you know, that way kind of thing. And that's not the place I want to be at. You know, you know, maybe late in life in some respects, but you know, I've finally gotten to a point where I'm done worrying about doing things right, and I want to do things my way. So there will be a little bit of a change to the flavor of the videos and things as I figure out what that means. You know, I really don't know exactly what that's going to translate to, but I do know that I'm tired of making videos and trying to do it their way, and that's just not really flowing for me. It's not really working. I'm not getting the view time that I need. I'm not getting the subscribers that I need. I mean, I am getting some subscribers, and I can't tell you guys how much I appreciate every single one of you, you know, but I'm not, you know, reaching that monetization. I'm not getting there like I want. So I'm going to stop trying to do it right, and I'm going to start doing it my way. So there we go. And then we've got it covered. And that ended up being a little bit more offset than I thought. I didn't realize it was quite so much up here, but that's fine. That's totally fine. I really like how the Bella looks down here. I think I want to kind of nip this so it looks a little more irregular. There we go. Yeah, there we go. And maybe another little nip on that side to take that straight edge off, and another small nibble right there. There we go. Yeah, I like that lots better. And you know, you see there's a little bit of I don't know if you guys can see up there are some air bubbles, and you know, you can see some creases in the fabric. Those are all things that I don't mind. I like it that it doesn't look mass produced. She will know that I made this for her, you know. But you know, you can get as fussy with it, you know, as you want. So thank you so much. Next time we will be working on pages.